During J.D. Salinger's youth years, he had many unique experiences that would impact his life and future endeavors. He was not known as a very intelligent student growing up. During high school, he flunked out of McBurney Prep School and was forced to attend Valley Forge Military Academy in Wayne, Pennsylvania. After completing Valley Forge Military Academy, he attended Columbia University. At Columbia University, he took a writing class that was instructed by Whit Burnett, who would become Salinger's mentor. Salinger was drafted into the Army to serve during World War II. When he was done serving in the war, he made a major success in producing Catcher in the Rye, which surged Salinger's status as one of the most successful writers in literature during the time period. 2 years after publishing Catcher in the Rye, Salinger went off the grid and bought a 90-acre house in Cornish, New Hampshire.
J.D. Salinger has had a reputation for being one of the most unique and influential writers in literature. Either for good or bad, everyone who touched J.D. Salinger's text has been pushed in some way. There's many events that have happened that J.D. Salinger has caused from his writing. The first major event was when the killer John Lennon spoke out and said Catcher in the Rye was the most powerful and only reason why he killed John Lennon. He said that the dark text and the slang that he used was an influence to kill John Lennon. He has also been very influential for the good. It has been stated that many film and movie producers have used him as an influence for many of their movies. In a movie called The Adventurers in 2009, they asked him, what was your inspiration for this movie? And he said that 85% of the movie was made off of J.D. Salinger's text. They used the plot, the theme, and all the problems they have in his text to make this.
J.D. Salinger's Catcher in the Rye led him to instant fame and success in the literary world. The Catcher in the Rye is a book about a teenager who wants to be true to himself while living in a world with phonies. When Holden wants to dismiss the phonies and find his true self, he is trying to rid himself of the inauthentic people who only live in the surface and try not to see the world vividly for what it is. This book has been widely popular since its release date, making it to the New York Times bestsellers list a month after the book was published. This book was very popular due to the literary elements that Salinger used to make his book both entertaining and interesting. First, Salinger utilized setting effectively to engage the audience and be specific as to what he is talking about. For example, when Holden was talking about background, he says, "Where I want to start telling is the day I left Pensy Prep. Pensy Prep is a school that's in Hagerstown, Pennsylvania. You probably heard of it. You've probably seen ads anyway." This quote shows how Salinger used colloquial dialogue to entertain the audience and also use a new type of writing style by directly talking to the audience. Also, Salinger uses irony to help readers understand his personal thoughts. When Holden talks about his religious beliefs, he says, "In the first place, I'm sort of atheist. I like Jesus and all, but I don't care too much for other stuff in the Bible." In this quote, Salinger uses slangy lines such as "and all," and he uses colloquial dialogue to make it seem like he's talking to the audience personally. He does this while trying to entertain the reader and help the reader understand Holden's perspective. Finally, Salinger's use of tone to tell how Holden is feeling while hiding from the elevator boy and others makes the book entertaining. When he was being very sneaky and cautious about getting caught, he says, "For one thing, I didn't give much of a damn anymore if they caught me. I really didn't. I figured if they caught me, they caught me. I almost wish they did, in a way." This quote shows that Holden is very impatient and just wants to end the hiding. He also uses the slang term "damn" in the quote to emphasize how much he doesn't care. Although many people enjoy the book, it is banned in many schools for its use of profanity. In fact, in 1963, the American Book Publishers Council found The Catcher in the Rye had become the most censored book in American public schools.
J.D. Salinger's 9 stories are one of the first and major books that pushed him to the top. These 9 stories he wrote in less than 2 months, which is outstanding for a writer like him. To start off, the opening book was called A Perfect Day for Banana Fish. This book has been one of the most well-known books in the series because of its very heavy use of slang and other major themes, including criticism of high society lifestyle and the big theme of death. In this piece of text, he uses the mood of the text to move the reader. He uses the death of a family member and the poor lower class to change the mood and pull the heartstrings of the reader. Another thing that he uses to make the reader interested in the text is conflict. He also uses many different themes that are deep embedded into the text. In another book called For Esme with Love and Scarlet, he uses the theme of love to push over the readers into a deep analytic reading session about this book. He hints towards some awful changes when he puts it deep in the book that a death is coming or a bad event is going to happen soon. In many of these books, like A Perfect Day for Banana Fish and For Ask Me With Love, he uses swear words like jackass. Forget my language. In these books, he uses this as a brand new type of English language that he uses so he can get the readers to be interested because they've never seen this text before. To wrap it all up, these 9 stories are so influential and are one of the best texts I've ever read. You should go and try to read them.